Canada is sovereign. Canada is free. Canada is proud. Canada will never be the 51st state, and Canada will fight back always and be the new leader of the free world that it has become under Prime Minister Carney.
So MeidasTouch just highlighted one of the most extraordinary diplomatic moments in modern North American history. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney essentially declaring independence from American leadership while Trump is distracted by his Iran naval blockade. This represents a fundamental realignment of the free world's power structure.
Canada's close ties to the United States were once a strength but have become a weakness, Prime Minister Carney said on Sunday in a video message to his country, in which he also praised the heroism of military leaders who fought against the U.S. invasion more than 2 centuries ago, holding up a small toy soldier depiction of General Isaac Brock, the British military leader who died defending what is now Canada from a U.S. invasion in the War of 1812.
Carney invoking Isaac Brock and the War of 1812 is brilliant political theater. Brock died defending Canada from American invasion at Queenston Heights. He's literally a symbol of Canadian resistance to U.S. expansion. This directly counters Trump's 51st state threats with historical precedent of successful Canadian defiance.
Carney said Canada can't control the disruption coming from its U.S. neighbors and can't bet its future on the hope that it will suddenly stop.
This statement comes as Trump's Iran blockade has alienated NATO allies and consumed his administration's bandwidth. Canada is essentially saying they can't count on America anymore, a stunning indictment of U.S. reliability under current leadership. This represents Canada pivoting away from 200 years of partnership.
The situation today feels unique, but we faced down threats like this before, Carney said, referencing Brock and several other Canadian historical figures, including multiple Indigenous leaders across the Great Lakes who resisted U.S. expansion in 1812.
Including Indigenous leaders like Tecumseh in this resistance narrative is strategically powerful. These leaders fought alongside British forces against American expansion. It's also a pointed contrast to Trump's treatment of Indigenous communities. Carney is positioning Canada as the true protector of Indigenous sovereignty.
And Stube gave an interview to Canadian media, and he says now it's over 60% of Canadians want to join the EU.
60% of Canadians wanting EU membership is seismic. That would mean leaving NAFTA, adopting the euro, and fully integrating with European defense structures. This polling surge coincides directly with Trump's military escalation in Iran. Canadians are literally choosing Europe over America.
And here Stube talks about how the U.S. is finding itself in a very lonely, lonely place right now.
Trump's Iran blockade has indeed isolated America. European allies refuse to join the naval operation, seeing it as reckless escalation. Canada is now openly discussing EU membership, while traditional allies distance themselves. America is losing its alliance leadership role in real time.
We see how this right-wing MAGA, Putin, Orban, Polyev, Dutton, right, crap just leads you to the gutter and hate and festering and anger and division and destruction and death and hell breaking loose.
The authoritarian axis of Trump, Putin, and Orban has indeed led to international chaos. Trump's Iran policy mirrors Putin's Ukraine approach, military solutions over diplomacy. Hungary's Orban supports both. This alliance pattern is driving democratic nations toward alternative partnerships like Canada-EU integration.
The alternative is pro-democracy and love and supporting each other. That's how you solve this. You lean in on values and principles that are worth fighting for and giving it all for.
While Trump pursues military confrontation in Iran, democratic leaders are building economic and diplomatic alternatives. The Canada-EU talks, the AUKUS expansion, the Nordic defense cooperation, all represent democracy's response to American unreliability. Soft power is replacing hard power globally.
Powerful speech by Carney and Stube and so many other world leaders, pro-democracy leaders stepping up.
America's traditional leadership vacuum is being filled in real time. While Trump focuses on naval blockades and military solutions, other democratic leaders are stepping into diplomatic and economic leadership roles. Canada, Finland, and EU nations are forming the new democratic axis.
I've showed you speeches recently of Prime Minister Sanchez of Spain. I showed you President Lula's speeches in Brazil. I've showed you French President Emmanuel Macron's speeches, right? I showed you Anthony Albanese's speeches. We've showed you the new speeches by Peter Magyar, the new leader of Hungary.
Sanchez, Lula, Macron, Albanese, and Magyar represent the new democratic international order. They're building trade relationships, climate partnerships, and security cooperation without American leadership. Trump's Iran obsession has accelerated this global realignment toward multilateral democracy without U.S. dominance.
You know, it's time to support pro-democracy leaders internationally, and as the MeidasTouch network continues to grow, we are the front lines of providing a place for pro-democracy voices to connect with people.
Independent media networks like this are becoming crucial diplomatic bridges as government-to-government relations deteriorate. When official diplomacy fails due to military distractions, alternative channels maintain democratic connections. These platforms are literally holding the Democratic Alliance together through information sharing.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney just gave a powerful address to his nation, and he called out Donald Trump and Trump's despicable regime.
Carney using despicable regime language represents a complete breakdown in diplomatic norms between these allies. This isn't typical political disagreement. This is fundamental rejection of American leadership. And it's happening while Trump is completely consumed by his Iran military campaign.